watching NBC7 News at 6.
Tonight on the news at 6, we continue our special series called Breakdown. Hello and welcome back. I'm Mark Mullen.
I'm Catherine Garcia. Thanks for being with us. Well, we are laying out for you a crisis in San Diego's mental health care system in our special series Breakdown. I spent more than a year diving into the issue to understand how this is affecting so many people. Families are struggling, and there are also devastating impacts on our community as a whole. The homelessness crisis, what's happening in our jails, what we expect of our law enforcement officers. That's what we're focusing on tonight as we investigate this breakdown. This is San Diego's East Village, and it was in this area, down this very street, where I met a man named Roland Childs. He'd already been homeless for a year.
Well, I was bipolar, and then bipolar went to, what's it called? Schizoaffective or something, which is some middle thing of manic bipolar.
And you think that's a big reason why you're probably where you are right now?
Yeah, I did try to take the medication and do the counseling and stuff, and it kind of made me more crazy, so I was like, or think about it all the time, and I kind of just found my own kind of even path and just working it out.
Roland's story is a lot like so many others. The latest We All Count survey, an annual census of the homeless living in the San Diego region, found 37% of homeless people in San Diego County reported mental health issues. That's more than 2,800 people. It is a daily challenge for those who are working to help.
How's it going? My name's Aaron BASILA.
Aaron, a field worker for the nonprofit National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, told me co-occurring disorders are a huge problem. People dealing with mental health issues and addiction.
That is a very real epidemic that's happening right now, is heroin with fentanyl, meth, cocaine. It is a very difficult thing that we're dealing with self-medication.
Hey, Joe! And it's not just a downtown problem. We went to Spring Valley with the Sheriff's Department Homeless Assistance Resource Team that focuses on rural areas.
And essentially we move from location to location. As you can see, there's multiple tents.
Sergeant George Chrysler's team of 8 deputies and 2 mental health clinicians offers everything from vaccinations to food stamps.
It's a tragedy that I haven't gotten my stuff together yet.
Are you from Spring Valley? Or?
The task force has been trying to help Joseph ADAMO.
This is the first time that I've reached out for help with my mental disability, and I'm kind of surprised at how helpful the people are and how much they've done for me so far.
We want these folks to be contributing members to society, people working in our stores, people that we see as neighbors. We don't want them living on our sidewalks in front of homes, and having this life. We know there's a better place, and especially in San Diego County, there is a better place and there's a better opportunity.
We're never going to be one, and we're never going to be whole as a society if a significant number of our population is left to wither and die on the streets, and we're better than that.
And right now we're not.
Right now we're not, no.
San Diego County Supervisor Nathan FLETCHER says it all comes down to this. We need to break what he calls the mental health cycle.
We spend hundreds of millions of dollars propping up a broken system.
Let's say somebody has some kind of breakdown here in the street. A call goes out to 911. Police, an ambulance, a fire truck respond. There's only so much they can do. They can leave that person here, they can take them to jail, or they can take them to an emergency department where that person in crisis is stabilized and then discharged until they're in crisis again, and the whole cycle starts again.
I'm Luke Bergman, Director of Behavioral Health Services within the County Health and Human Services Agency.
Luke Bergman says we need to totally change our approach to what's known as continuous care management.
So it means more consistent engagement in care, right? So that you don't, what we want people to do is not go into an episode of crisis care when they're in the midst of really extreme need, get stabilized, and then just get pushed right back out and be on their own again. Because we know, particularly people with behavioral health conditions, they'll wind up right back in crisis care again.
Instead, somebody in crisis would be matched with one specific caregiver, a relationship meant to last for years to come. That kind of overhaul is going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. So how did we get into this situation in the first place? To understand that, you need to go back to the time in this country when people with severe mental illness were forced to live in state hospitals. Many suffered abuse, lobotomies, electric shock therapy. Eventually, critics started exposing those conditions. Plus, new medication and therapies offered hope that people could live out in the community. So in the 1950s, those institutions started closing down. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy, inspired by his disabled sister, signed a law shifting responsibility to local community health centers.
Parents frequently must face decisions.
But a community care system was never really funded or built. And then in 1967, California Governor Ronald Reagan signed a law mostly ending the practice of institutionalizing patients against their will. Those with mental health issues didn't just disappear, of course. They reappeared, unfortunately, oftentimes on our streets and in our jails. People like Jason Nishimoto.
My son was first diagnosed when he was about 20. That's when he had his first episodes of, the schizophrenic episodes that were really bad.
His mother, Rochelle, says in September 2015, Jason's brother called 911 after Jason swallowed a bottle of tranquilizers.
I heard him on the phone saying, he repeated several times, he's mentally ill, he's suicidal.
She says the family told officers her 44-year-old son had a history of suicide attempts, but she says when Jason was arrested, he was placed in solitary confinement at the Vista Jail, where he used a bedsheet to hang himself. He is one of the 32 inmates who died by suicide in this county in the past 8 years. San Diego County Sheriff Bill Gore oversees the county jails.
Critics say that you are not doing enough to prevent in-custody deaths and suicides. What do you say to them?
Well, I would say that we are facing the same issue that every sheriff and jail in California is facing. We are all the de facto mental health providers.
Statistics show that's an issue nationwide. 37% of adults in the state and federal prison system have a diagnosed mental illness.
And then you hear the other side of this, that we don't care. And I see my people that care every day, and they work tirelessly to get these people the services they need, and then to be accused of not caring is really frustrating for us, because for 10, 20 years, we have been the mental health providers in this county. I don't say that to brag, I say it as a sad commentary, really.
While some tragic stories happen behind bars, others unfold during a confrontation with law enforcement. Nearly 1 in 4 people shot and killed by police officers in this country had a mental health condition.
Hello, 911.
Yes, I'm trying to call the police. My nephew almost killed me, throwing big stones on me.
That 911 call in 2019 came from an El Cerrito woman who said her nephew, 52-year-old Dennis Carolino, was suffering a mental health crisis. When police arrived, she took them to the back of the home.
Ma'am, just stay right here, okay?
No, this one. No, this one is the middle.
That one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands.
Relax, brother.
Drop it. Drop it. Drop it.
Police shot and killed Dennis when they say he wouldn't drop a shovel. The district attorney deemed the shooting justifiable. I spoke with Dennis's brother Anthony when he filed a claim against the city of San Diego.
Our criminal justice system is broken, and we need to fix this. We need to stop this. Enough is enough.
The city filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit, but a judge disagreed. The case will likely head to trial. The family claims officers should have waited for PERT to arrive. For many years, the county has had the Psychiatric Emergency Response Team, PERT, 72 licensed mental health clinicians who go out on calls with law enforcement and paramedics. Dr. Mark Marvin heads up the team.
In your ideal world, how many clinicians do you think you would need to serve San Diego County the way you would want to? Are you close to that?
Well, that's a fantastic question, and it's a very tough one to answer. Of course, my hope is that we could always respond. Currently, we are not available on the overnight shift, the graveyard shift.
So PERT isn't always available. Plus, when somebody is a threat to themselves or to others, PERT has to hold back until officers can make sure they can step in safely. As for Rochelle Nishimoto, she sued, and documents show the county paid $595,000 to settle. The county declined to comment on the settlement. She is now a mother left frustrated, doubting any settlement, any one loss of life, will ever really fix the breakdown in the system.
What does it take? What the hell does it take to change it?
Now, when it comes to officer-involved shootings, a recent 25-year report from the District Attorney's Office found nearly 8 out of 10 shootings involve somebody with either mental health issues or who was under the influence. So the DA is spending $1.5 million to train every officer to better handle these situations. Tomorrow, we're going to give you a rare look inside that training.
And I don't think anybody, Catherine, as we watch that remarkable piece, would doubt the effort that the police departments are doing. But these officers really, all of these departments are set up to deal with violent crime, not mental health. So this really would change a systemic overhaul to really be able to provide that continuous care.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point that I think so many people are trying to make who are immersed in this on a daily basis, is that we can't just talk about this in these silos of the homeless crisis or what's happening in families here or how are we getting our kids help. We really have to look at this holistically, because if we don't, we're never going to get to the root of the problem and overhaul this system that just was never built in the first place to address all of the needs out there. So I think you make a great point there for sure.
Fascinating story. Thank you.
Thanks. By the way, if you missed episode 1, and also for a guide of resources, that's really important for those who may need help, just head to NBC7.com/breakdown.